Hey everyone, Tyron here from Africa Budget Pellet Gunner, and welcome back to the channel. So I'm sure as you could see from the thumbnail, this is going to be a little bit of a different video. What we've decided to do with the channel is we're going to be adding, obviously we've seen a couple of videos of the Slingshots, but we're going to be adding a second host. His name is Niel. Niel's going to be looking after the slingshot side of things. I'm going to be looking after the air rifle side of things, and our whole goal with this is to grow the channel and to give you more content that you can enjoy. Really sit back, open a cold one, and enjoy it. So I thought the best way to introduce Niel to the channel is we're going to do a bit of an interview, like a meet and greet. So here's that coming up. Till next time, guys. See you around. Hope you enjoy this. How's it, Niel? Welcome to the channel, and really looking forward to working together with you. So I think the first thing that I wanted to do is to just kind of give the audience an overview of yourself. So let's start with, how did you get into slingshots?
Hi, Taran. Yeah, thank you very much for having me on your channel. It's a fun adventure to take on. So yeah, just to get back to your question a little bit on how I got into slingshotting. Well, it's been a staple for me, a hobby for me since a childhood. Um, I've been on the farms of my uncles for most of my childhood, and they basically grew up with the farm boys shooting slingshots in the ski after the bosdaver, and that securing our happy meal for the day, I suppose.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, those days with the good old horse track was always fun. Eh? And
Yeah, unfortunately, you had to have some massive muscles as well, to pull that horse back.
yeah, no, for sure. No, for sure. All right, no, cool. So obviously, you've got your own business in slingshots. So what kind of drives your business when it comes to slingshots and the hobby itself?
Well, it's the love of people. I think it's a whole process of seeing people enjoying themselves when they get out in and about in the forest and actually just shooting, seeing some power and seeing them being able to control something that is as powerful as a slingshot. It sounds simple, but it is actually extremely powerful if it's set up right. So I think it's the people that really makes this whole process for me worthwhile.
Yeah, no, for sure. And obviously, we know that slingshots has come a long way from when we were youngsters. So, what would you say is some of the differences between slingshot of old and the current slingshots that we have?
Well, I actually thought about it a little bit, and I brought a sample or two just to show you guys. So this is just a normal wooden fork, natty. This is actually one of my forks that I came from my childhood. I actually just bore in holes on top here to put a new, a little bit more modern type of slingshot band on it. But this is the type of band systems they use in the more traditional type of slingshot. This is called Linotex. They use the horse rack as well. It's almost a square-ish type of tube. Not really, it is rubber, so it has a stretch factor. It has a retraction factor, so it will project a projectile. But it's not actually intended for it. It's actually a mining product. So with the advancement of slingshots and so forth, you can look at more modern based band systems like latex. There is different forms of latex. You get slingshot latex, you get yoga latex, exercising latex. All of those have different components. But the main difference between modern and traditional is the look and the effectiveness of it. So it's basically taking the old, shaping into a new, more consistent form, as this is not always consistent as it grows into in trees. But this is as effective as this. It's just about mostly the band system that protects the projectile.
Yeah.
So main difference is just the shape.
Okay. No, definitely, and I can see that the newer type of frame that you've got there definitely looks a lot easier to hold on to and to use.
Absolutely.
So if we take this new slingshot that we've got and we break it down a little bit. So let's start with the frame itself, or the fork, as the old people would know it. So tell us a little bit about these different frames that you get these days, and what's different from those in the old ones.
Okay, so in the olden days, tree forks is basically it's one shape. It's you look for the best type of fork that you can find in the tree, and you kind of cut it in the Bob's your uncle. But with the advancement of slingshots, they started to develop different type of slingshots by looking at the way you're holding the slingshot. So there's a few different ways of actually holding a slingshot. One of the ways is called a hammer grip, which you just grip the slingshot on the bottom. It's almost a traditional way of shooting. It's you grip it on the bottom on the handle part and you pull it back. Then if you are a little bit more advanced and your skill level does pick up a little bit more, you start looking into more pinch grips, or smaller type of grips where you grip the fork as close as possible to the points. This gives you a much more accuracy projectile, and it gives you a much better aim reference and control over your slingshot overall. But this is not all. So there's millions of different types that caters for different types. So as you can see, these looks very similar, but this one you can shoot hammer grip and pinch grip. This you can't. This is only for pinch grip. So you will see it has a specific loops here for your hand, So it fits right in there. So this will make it extremely difficult to hold it like this. You won't have any control because the balance of the fork sits in on top. Then you get the Oxium Ocularis, which is a very versatile. It's a great starter type of frame in a sense of it can be versatile shooting through the forks and over the top, but it can be held in grip, hammer grip, pinch grip, however you would like. I see some people actually shoot like that. I don't recommend it with their thumb on their fork. You're gonna shoot your thumb off. But if that works for you, it works for you. Yeah. So it really depends on the application you're looking at. For instance, this is a hammer slingshot. This is more for hunting capabilities. If you're looking at something like this is capable of hunting, but you're going to find more joy in shooting targets. It's more finer precision. This is more raw power, the hunting type of slingshots. So it really depends on what your purpose is. Is it for playing around, shooting a little bit of target shooting? Is it competitions target shooting? Is it hunting? So is it self-defense? Is what your purpose is depends on what type of frame you are going to invest in.
Yeah, and I actually brought one with that I really enjoy shooting, a little pickle fork.
So, the pickles.
Yeah, so also something different, and yeah, something I'm sure we'll get into a bit later as well. All right, so I think that covers the frames quite nicely. If we look, obviously the next part is your bands, so your actual rubbers. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? And I think that's where the biggest difference comes in from our old ones, is probably with the bands.
Yeah, I think this is where the slingshot world really made a massive stride towards a better shooting experience. I just think of myself, there's a lot of slingshots that you can buy with these type of rack on it, and when you buy it, you shoot it once or twice, but it's not a fun experience. It doesn't contribute to the adventure, the fun part of it, as it makes it really tough to keep accuracy. You have to be hell of a lot strong to pull this. So imagine a 12, 13-year-old boy trying to pull this. As an adult, this is already a difficult stretchability. But this is where the whole important factor sits with a slingshot. The frame, it can be simple and easy, and it's more for your advantage. But the bands, you cannot choose the wrong one. If you choose the wrong one, you are going to have a experience similar to the bands you are buying. So there's a lot of different material. So there's saying in the slingshot world, if it can retract and it can project a projectile, it can go on a slingshot. Well, yes and no. It's almost like putting the wrong type of ammo into your gun. It's going to have an effect. It's going to influence the whole experience. You're not going to have the power, the durability, or the effectiveness of the shot. So when we look at band material, there's predominantly two types. You get flat bands, which is about 80% of shooters prefer flat bands. They are like a golf set. If you choose golf clubs, you get a club like a professional club where the sweet spot is just very small. More professional players play like that. Whereas clubs where that is how can I say, easy or forgiving,
More
has a
forgiving,
bigger
yeah.
sweet spot. So yeah, so you have a bigger sweet spot. So it's easier to almost get it right. So that's why most people opt for the flat bands. They're much more easier to control in a sense of ammo size, width, your taper width, your thickness, and that goes with along with different sizes of ammo. That the thickness determines the pull heaviness of the shot. So if you someone that really loves pulling heavy, that is a 1 millimeter type of size, by all means go. That's for chunking massive 12, 14, 16 millimeter balls. I don't know who enjoys that. That's for destruction. But if you enjoy that, by all means, float your boat with that. But most slingshot shooters actually combine 9.5 or 8 millimeter steel ammo and flat bands. This gives you shots of speeds of around about 3 to 350 feet per second, which is insane. Now, this is obviously a 1 millimeter band set. You get them from a 0.4 millimeter up to a 1 millimeter. Now, if you are really into slingshot shooting, you predominantly stay in the areas of 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. 0.7 is already classified as heavy bands for hunting, where the 0.5s are more for plinking and target shooting, accuracy type of shooting. The 0.6 is a lacquer in between, having that heavy pull, almost heavier pull of the 0.7, but the flightness of the 0.5. Then, if you look at the other types of bands, the more advanced type of bands, you're looking at tubes. Now, there's different types of tubes. You get medical type of tubes, which I would not, in any sense, recommend. Yes, they might have some powder behind the shot, but they are so unpredictable. There's been so many instances where people have shot the slingshot with those medical bands and it actually snapped in the middle and slapped back and into their face. So that is extremely dangerous. It's not developed for that. It's developed more for turning tourniquets or where you want to stop blood supply. So it's a stretchability, but it's more of a keeping the pressure applied type of bands. Real slingshot bands like these, you will see they come in, usually there's about 6 different sizes that they look at. This is the 1745s. You will see they do not look as like the normal ones, the normal tubes that we almost know. They're a little bit more thinner, but these are extremely, extremely durable. Where when you go to the flats, they are less of durable. They have less of a durability than the tubes, but they have a higher accuracy factor than the tubes. This is a more skilled shooting, and this is more easier, bigger, sweeter spot for giving type of slingshot bands. So if I would suggest anyone starting out, do not go for the tubes. Not because they do not shoot great, but you're going to find it much more difficult to find the sweet spot, to find the accuracy, and it takes a lot more time on your slingshot to master, where the flat bands is much easier to master. So in a nutshell, this is the two type of band systems you're looking at. And obviously they branch out in their various sections of the two.
Yeah. All right. No, cool. Thanks, man. And I think also something to note is with the guys that likes the speed shooting, so they usually
Oh,
like the
yes,
tubes. They usually like the tubes
because it
as well.
doesn't
So
twist.
Yeah. So with a flat band, you sometimes end up having to get your twist out, so it can be a bit of a delay.
Hassle.
Yeah. So I think the next part obviously is then the pouches. So with the regards to the pouches, much changes there compared to the old pouches that we
Well,
used to use.
unfortunately, I don't have an example of the old pouches. So the old pouches is we used to make them after a slaughter, the bokvelletjie. We used to take some of the part that wasn't really nice, and we cut it in a smaller shape, in an oval type of shape, or a longer, elongated square-ish shape, and then we would braid it and cut it and whatever do with it, and use that. But the thing is, it's heavy. It's not always sourceable. It stretches, which really becomes a worrisome issue later on. And then it's really not aerodynamic, and it adds weight to your projectile. So that all those smaller details has a big, profound influence on your overall shot accuracy and distance that you want to shoot. So predominantly the new type of pouches that you get, they do still use the leather pouches, but it's not that widely used due to the stretchability factor of them. So they don't keep their shape for long. So that's why they rather look at microfiber type of shapes or microfiber type of materials. So this is a 4.5. This is an average standard size small pouch. You get smaller than this, and then you get in betweens until you get to the larger pouch, like these. This is a 5 point or 6 millimeters, or 5.5, if I can remember correctly. So if you put the two next to each other, they look very similar, but they are profoundly different in a sense. This will work much better for speed shooting and for smaller ammo due to the lesser air friction that it receives when it releases. This is more for bigger type of ammo. So where it really doesn't matter about your size of your pouch anymore, but really to accommodate the size of your ammo. So then you look at because your bands is going to be able to handle the weight of the size pouch. But when you're looking at smaller type of bands like the 0.5s and 0.6s, I suggest looking at smaller type of pouch systems to accommodate smaller ammo sizes. This in turn will help with your aerodynamics, and it will help with a much more cleaner shot. Hunting wise, you're looking at the bigger type of pouches, just purely because of the fold over and holding of the ball, the ammo, where this will be able to handle anything from a 6 millimeter ammo steel to 9.5. This is from 9.5 to 12 millimeter up. So it really just determines on what type of ammo you're looking and shooting at, and that determines but the material is important. Rather look at a lighter-ish material that's hard wearing and doesn't stretch and deform. So leather works, but not preferred.
Yeah. All right. No, that's very interesting. And obviously, I think you touched on it. Probably the last one that we're going to cover today is ammo. So I think there's quite a lot of different ammo compared to when we were youngsters, just shooting the stones that we could find and the smoothest ones we could find. So when it comes to ammo, what have we got these days?
Okay, so I unfortunately do not have all of them on hand. So I'm gonna talk about the ammo types, and I think it's very simplistic, if I can say it in that way. As when you're looking at slingshot ammo, anything spherical works. Now, when you're looking at anything spherical and anything spherical works, then you have to look at the damage factor. So you get different types of ammo for different type of application. If you're starting out, I would suggest do not dive into and shoot straight off steel ammo. It's an injury waiting to happen. I really do not suggest that. If you're starting out, or even if you're advanced with the new band systems, it's a whole different ball game. So you start off with rubber balls, and they usually are in the vicinity size of a 9 or 10 millimeter. You don't usually get them smaller or bigger. It's in that size range. Rubber balls are excellent. They don't do a lot of damage. It's great for playing around. It does swerve a little bit at the end due to the power of the bands and the weight of the ball. So it's not really for accuracy, but it's getting used to shooting your slingshot. Then you move on to your plastic ammo, which is a little bit heavier, has a little bit of more firmer feel to it, and that does have a damage factor, but it's a very lower damage factor. It's probably 1 or 2 steps higher than the rubber ammo. If you move on from there, then you start moving into damaging factors of 5, which is a little bit of a higher factor, where you can actually pull blood from shooting us, or even serious injury. If you're looking at the next step from your typical plastic bullet, then you move to your mud bullets. So there's 2 different types of ammo in this class, in the clay or the biodegradable class. One is a clay ammo. It has a different composition inside, and it's a slightly heavier composition than the mud. The mud is a pure mud ball that's shaped in, and I must say they are very spherical. They are usually around 9 or between 8 and 10 millimeters of size. So there's a variety of practice sizes that you can work with. What makes this great is biodegradable. If I drop this on the ground tomorrow, if it rains tonight, tomorrow I'm not going to be able to find a bullet. So it makes it's an easy shoot. You don't have to worry about it. You shoot it and it's gone. It's cheap ammo. That's lucky to practice with. If you shoot it, it has almost the exploding effect. So you can almost see the shot as well. This has no magnetic effect. So you're going to have to carry it in your pocket or in your bag or whatever. Where the clay ammo, this is where you start. This is more for really competition practicing, where you don't want to shoot steel. This is a very, very accurate or a very well-balanced ammo. So it shoots very straight for a good period or a good distance. But it's a magnetic as well, so it enables you to carry it with your steel ammo on your pouch as well. And the core is a little bit different than the mud. So I think I have my knip mess here. I'm just going to cut one through, just to show you. I hope I'm able to do this. This is not I should have done this beforehand. But hopefully on this one, you should be able to see there's a core inside. Now that core is basically the weight of the ammo. Now I'm going to cut the mud one. Both of them have different shootabilities, and if you can see, this is just a pure mud ball. Okay. So brilliant starting ammo to start with. Great to practice with. It has a damage factor. It can shoot an eye out. It is a hard ball. You can hunt with them, but I wouldn't suggest, because you're going to work on pure blunt force, and it's not heavy enough for blunt force, but it can kill animals. Not that I easily do suggest it. Then you move on to a little bit more advanced, but something that is more considered on the lower spectrum of advanced ammo is glass marbles. Due to the shatterability factor, it's really unsafe. They are usually very big. They are 11, 12, 13 millimeters. So it's not a nice shoot. It feels bad in your hand, number one. People do often shoot it. It does have a high damage factor, but it's not environmentally friendly. It's a difficult shoot. I wouldn't suggest it for anyone in any case. And you can't see it well if you have to pick it up as well. So, and it takes extremely long to obviously to disintegrate. Then you move on to your steel type of ammos and your leads, which is more competition types, and hunting type of ammo, which is a 10 damage factor. This is killing ammo. This is real McCoys, this is not for playing around. If you do shoot this at someone, you are going to make a hell of a lot of damage. So I do not suggest shooting this, except if this is an extreme case of self-defense. Um, with the steel ammo, you get various sizes. They usually start, we shoot anything from 4.5 millimeter, which is a daisy bullet. Then you get a 6.3 millimeter steel, 7 millimeter steel, 8 millimeter steel, 9 millimeter steel, 9.5 millimeter steel, 10 millimeter, 11, and so you go on. So the ranges that slingshot shooters usually keep in is the 8 or 7 to the 9.5s. That is a comfortable size, and it projects very well out of all sizes of bands, from 5 up to a 7. That's why they stay with those ammo sizes. If you go bigger, then it's more just for chunking ammo balls. It's like shooting a cannonball. It's just shooting a massive piece of chunk. I don't think you're going to shoot it very far, but you're going to make damage with it. There's some people that do find some fun in that, but otherwise, most shooters keep in the smaller ammo because they want that penetration. That's what's the most important, because the smaller the ammo, the more penetration power it has, less of the higher velocity and less friction on the ball. So when you hunt, we suggest use anything from a 9.5 to a 11 millimeter steel when you do hunt. If you do want to make that's 11 millimeter steel is almost on blunt force trauma, where the 9 millimeter steel will be more penetration power. So you can work it on both ways. But ammo wise, it's a massive range. Please do not shoot rocks. They are so unpredictable. This is what breaks the slingshot world. I know it's been a staple and there's been nothing else, but the world has advanced in so many ways. Rocks are so unpredictable. They flight path, the way you hold them in your pouch, the way it's released can already, if it releases wrong, your finger is gone. Same with nuts. Yes, they're almost spherical. Yes, they can travel. Yes, they can make a lot of damage, but unpredictability factor, it's massive. If you're going to shoot it at an intruder, great, it's going to make some damage, but you're going to probably receive damage if it's not released out your pouch correctly. So it's not worthwhile. It's exactly like weapons or a gun. You're not going to load your gun with unsafe ammo. Exactly the same way with a slingshot. We have to respect the slingshot the same way.
Okay. No, awesome. That really gives us a wide variety, and I think a nice starting point for us people that's getting into slingshots would obviously be the clay and the mud and stuff, and then once you get the hang of it, move across to steel. And if you're really going to hunt, obviously go a little bit bigger and then get a bigger band set probably as well.
Absolutely.
All right. So I think the next thing that I kind of wanted to delve in with you, and also for the viewers, which is quite important, is what can they expect from you going forward on this channel?
Okay, so from my side, I'm going to bring some excitement, some education, some experimenting, some showing, and some doing. Words is a lot of things, but actions is a whole different story. So I like to put the practical or the theory with the practical. That gives you a direct result, which is tangible. Because if we say anything can go. I mean, data is freely available, but it's in that tangibles where the difference lies. So I'm going to really be testing different things, looking at different systems, seeing how the systems come together, what makes the ultimate system work, and where you want to go with what type of system, depending on your range.
All right, no, cool. So going to really delve into the technical stuff then, and different ways to shoot, different combinations in terms of bands, pouches, ammo,
grips,
what works.
You name it.
Yeah, okay, no, that's awesome. And then in terms of slingshots, obviously this channel is going to be broadcast all over the world, not only in South Africa, but outside of YouTube. What's happening with slingshots? Obviously, we're in South Africa, so what's happening with slingshots in South Africa?
Actually, a lot of exciting movement and growth has taken place in South Africa in the last few, I would say, months, almost a year. South Africa has established its Slingshot Federation. So we are now a official sport code in South Africa, and even schools, from schools right down to universities, anyone can take part in slingshot shooting. It is now regulated. There's rules, there's tournaments that we be holding right throughout the whole South Africa. So this is to grow the slingshot community, to show people this is a true sport in its own sense. It is skill based. There is a lot of uh, development in sense of eye-hand coordination, physical activity that you get out in the field or outside. There's that adventure factor with the whole SASEF as well. So South Africa and slingshot shooting is growing at a massive pace, and it's great to see that we are going to be one of the contenders in international sports soon.
All right, awesome. And if I remember correctly, the first competitions will be next year, February and March, eh?
Yes, so the first one will be in Bloemfontein in Free State on the 3rd of February, and those are open provincial tournaments. The second one will be in Gauteng, and then all the other provinces will follow thereafter. I think KZN is thereafter, then it's Northern Cape, and so forth and so forth. And then there's a big national tournament which is held in Bloemfontein again. I think it's over a weekend. It's a 2-day story. There's medals, there's prizes, there's provincial colors that's going to be handed out. So this is a professional sport in South Africa. Not that we get paid for it, but in a sense we are in a professional sense.
Okay, no, awesome. Okay, so Niel, I think firstly from my side, I really appreciate you joining the channel, taking the time to come and chat to us. We look forward to all the content that's coming from you, but most importantly, outside of this video, how can people get hold of you? How can they chat to you? Where can they find your stuff?
So I deal in simple shot slingshots, and I'm a wholesaler of slingshot equipment and accessories. I am an online store, so everyone can look on my website, which is www.gxslingshots.co.za or .com. Doesn't matter, either one, it works. You will be able to find some of the most premium slingshot bands and frames available in South Africa. Yes, I'm always available on WhatsApp and email as well. I'm a fountain of knowledge. I consider myself the chief sling in the slingshot world in South Africa. I know quite a bit, and I love sharing the information and helping people start their adventure and enjoying it.
All right. No, awesome. Absolutely. And yeah, once again, thanks so much, Niel. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us. And I'll leave all the links in the comments, in the description box below. So if you guys want to go visit Niel, but really looking forward to the content that's going to come up from you, and really looking forward to being able to meet you in person as well soon. So yeah, exciting times. Looking forward to being a kid again, and I'm sure many others that's going to watch this video is going to feel the same way as well. So, all right, thanks very much, Niel, and really appreciated all your time.
Thank you very much, Tyrone. Blessings and take care. Till next time. Cheers,
Cool.
guys.
Chat soon.